Hey, what's good YouTube? Target here and welcome to another episode of Design and Manage, my city Skylines and Unmodded Let's Play series. I'm back from my vacation and so the series of pre-recording has ended and this is the first time for me recording in quite a few weeks to be honest, so I'm quite a bit rusty, but let's see how this goes. But anyway, on the last episode we have built the highway and the initial road layout that you see on the left part of the screen. And today I think we can develop the road layout and plan our new districts. So I'm going to think a little bit regarding how I want to develop this area, then we're going to jump into time lapse where I'll build my new districts, and then we'll come back in a few minutes to show you what I've done and also to explain you how the road layout works. So without further ado, let's jump into time lapse and I hope you enjoy it. See you in a second. Alright guys, so this took quite a bit of time and quite a bit of work to be honest, but I'm finally done with it and I'm also quite satisfied with the final result. So let me just explain you how this whole thing works and what was my thought process behind building this. Okay, so as you can see, this whole area follows a grid layout. The northern part of the district, which is this one, which will be the expansion of my low density residential, follows the same grid that the whole city is based on, and this area over here, the southern part, follows a grid that is based on this highway, the coastal highway. I had to find a way to make these two layouts fit together, and I think I was able to do that quite nicely by bending these avenues a bit further and thus continuing the shape of the layout. But anyway, I didn't develop this area over here, this little triangle, and also the coastal area, because that's something that I will work on in the future. For now, I think this is more than enough to start the expansion of the city. If you have been paying attention, you have already noticed that I've tried to apply the principles of road hierarchy that I've explained on part 52 of the series to this layout. So this layout is mainly composed of arterials, which are identified by the avenues that you see right about over here, and also over here, and also here, which will be the main conductors of traffic between districts. And there are also very little intersections to these particular avenues. So for example, you have an intersection over here, and the nearest intersection possible is either this one or also this one, followed by this one, and so on. And this will greatly help maximize traffic flow. I further recommend that you watch part 52 if you haven't done so already, to have a better grasp of this concept. But anyway, this southern layout will be mostly dedicated to commercial and also high density builds, such as offices, commercial and residential. I might turn this entire coastal area into high-tech housing just to increase the land value of the coastal area. And this is a strategy that I might even expand to this whole part of the city. So I might convert all of this to high-tech housing, but we'll see about that. Something really interesting that this layout has, this part of the town, is this elevated interchange that I have tried to incorporate with this layout. So as you can see over here, we have an avenue that goes right below the highway, which I think turned out quite nice. And we also have an avenue that goes under it, through a tunnel. And I think this will give the town a bit more of a personality. So it's not just a flat city. I've also tried to incorporate a bit of terraforming, and I think it will make the city much more interesting. I've also added a couple of cul-de-sacs here and there, so these dead-end roads that you can see throughout the entire part of the layout, and I've done this to maximize the zoning space. So if you click on the road tools, you will see that you have a lot of zoning blocks that will be pretty much maximized. And I've also added some tunnels and also some overpasses to provide easier transport between blocks without affecting the main traffic that will flow on the avenues. So that was my plan, pretty much. Now moving on to this part over here. This is where I initially planned to place the university, the second university, and I think that's what I will end up doing. Initially I thought about making a custom campus for the university, but given the fact that I'm playing this game unmodded, I don't think there's pretty much a point, so I might just place the university building probably around over here or somewhere else similar. But I'll still have to think about that. Then I will zone the rest of the blocks with some houses, probably some high-tech housing, and also some shops and offices for the local university and also the graduates. In order to keep the logic of having very few intersections on the avenues, I have made these adjacent roads right next to the main avenue where all the roads from the blocks intersect. So you can see all of these intersections instead of connecting directly to the avenue. So this avenue only has two intersections, one over here and also another one over here. That will help maximize the traffic flow, or at least I believe, but that's something that we'll just have to wait and see, and hopefully I am right. I have also added some additional connections, such as this one and also this one over here, this tunnel that connect to the rest of the city, and I also provided some zoning blocks on the right part of the railway. And speaking of railway, I also placed another train station right about over here, right at the entrance of the city, and it connects directly with this train station over here that is currently burning, actually. Well, it's not burning, but it's right next to a burning building. So we have this train station over here, and look at all this movement. This is incredible. But anyway, now these people, or the people living over here, will have a way, or a fast way to travel from this part of the layout to this part over here, this part of town. And moving on to the northern part of the layout, we have this grid-like shape. that follows the same pattern that this layout over here that I built on the last episode. And as you can see, the main source of traffic is going to be this avenue over here that will pull traffic directly from the interchange through this one-way road, and also this avenue right below it that will pull traffic from the high-density layout. And then we have a set of blocks, a set of grids that I've tried to not make as boring as possible. I've added these roundabouts, which I believe are not going to be necessary, but I've added them anyway. And I've also added these particular shapes to the end of the layout, just so it doesn't end with a linear road, so to say. I believe this will turn out the layout much more interesting. Then I've actually added some connections, such as this one and also this one, that will connect directly to the existing low density layout. And for example, this tunnel over here as well, that will connect directly to the layout of the university, which I believe will turn out quite nicely. And I've done this again so that it doesn't interfere with the main traffic of the avenue. Let's talk a bit about traffic flow, shall we? As I've mentioned, I've tried to apply the principles of road hierarchy, but I had to make sure I had enough connections so that citizens can access every single corner of the city. So let's assume you are a citizen that is traveling through this highway and wants to come to this layout. You have multiple choices. You can get out over here in this off-ramp and leave directly in this avenue that will lead you to this arterial right until this intersection, and then you can turn right, and this will give you a wide connection to this entire area. Or you can actually keep moving forward, go through this loop and connect over here, come to this bridge and go to this intersection where you'll have the chance to go forward and move to this layout. Or you can turn left and get out over here and come to this part of the layout. So you actually have two choices or two options for to be able to come to this layout, to this southern part of the layout. If you want to go to the university place, that is the northern part, you can actually take the same avenue that will lead you over here, then come to this avenue, and then you will have access to this entire city. And from here you'll also be able to access the northern part with these tunnels. If you're coming from this avenue, however, you will not have the chance to get out over here, as I've showed you on the last episode. The only chance is for you to get out here and come to this avenue, and then you'll have to go around the corner and turn about over here and get to the university this way. But I believe that's not going to be an issue. If you're still on this highway and you want to come to this part of the layout, you can simply keep moving forward along this junction, and then you get off at around this off-ramp, and then you'll get to this avenue that I've already explained to you. You'll have the chance to keep moving forward and access the layout, or you can turn left over here on this avenue and access the bottom part of the layout. So I believe I've provided quite a decent coverage regarding roads for people to come to every single corner of this new layout, and we'll just have to wait and see how well this thing works with traffic. Regarding public transportation, I'm not going to complicate this area a bit much. I'm just going to keep it straightforward. I will have this train station, as I've already showed you, and I will actually expand the metro lines that we have over here. For example, this linear line, I am going to expand the circle all the way until here, I believe. Then I will curve and I will make a circular shape that will connect back. And I will also expand this southern line that you see over here, and I will bring it right along the coastline, and I will most likely intersect with the circular line somewhere around on the downtown area. So that's pretty much it. Then I'll have a set of bus routes that will connect people from their homes and also from their jobs to the specific metro stations, just as I have applied on every single corner of the city. Okay guys, that's gonna be it for the explanation of the new layout. I will develop it a bit further in time. I still have a lot of things that I want to do, such as creating an elevated pedestrian pathway network, which is something that I always do in all my layouts, so that's something that we will focus on the next episode. For now, I would like to focus a bit on districts. So if I go to the district tab, you can see that I have been neglecting this part of my city for quite a few times. So we have all of these layouts or these particular shapes that are not have been defined as a district yet. Oh, and by the way, ignore this fire that is currently going on. You should already be used to it. But anyway, I think I'm gonna split this entire layout into districts, and I'll probably name them after a few subscribers of mine. I don't have names for all of these districts, but at least I'll set them, and then we can simply rename them as time goes by. But anyway, let's start with this. I'm gonna start by drawing a district over here. Okay guys, I've just defined the districts for this entire area, and you've also noticed this thing over here, and that's right, we are going to have another park in this area. I figured out this interchange was quite a tricky area to zone something in, so I decided to convert everything into a park, and I will create a lot of greenery in this particular area. And I will also connect everything with pathways. So this is actually going to be another way of incentivizing people from using the park and providing a bit more revenue to the city, because the only areas where you will be able to walk from these districts to these particular districts to either side of the highways will be to use the park, the walkways on the park. So in other words, I will have to find a way to incorporate the pathways of this park to the elevated pathway network that will cover these entire districts. But again, that's material for another episode. We'll just have to see how this thing goes. But anyway, now that we have some districts drawn, I think we can name a few of them after some of my followers. So we're gonna start with this one over here, Garnet Square, and we're gonna name it after... I really don't know how to pronounce your name, but I'm just gonna write it, not like this. Toskon Akalin, there we go. And I'm gonna follow it with Heights, because that's the same name that we have on the Lee 001 district. There we go. Now the next one will be this one. And I'm gonna name it after Zachary Nolan. And I'm gonna call it Uptown. There we go, another one. Let's go to Butler Park and name it after Yank Azarika, I believe that's how you pronounce it. And let's call it Residentials. Perfect. And now the final one, for the time being, will be named after says Philip with only one L. Florica. Oh no, it's two L's actually. Yeah, perfect. And I'm gonna call it Central Town, because it's right in the center of the city. Okay, perfect. If you're a new follower of mine and you don't know what the hell I'm doing, basically I have this thing in this series where I name my districts after some of my followers, and this is decided based on the quality of the comments that people post, that you post on my videos. So if you are a person that leaves a lot of constructive criticism on my videos and provides a lot of feedback, you are more likely to be selected to be part of this town, to be a proud minister of the Design and Manage series. In the beginning of this series it was really easy for me to select the names of people to name my districts after, but right now it's getting really hard because I have a lot of people who are commenting on my videos and leaving very good feedback, and unfortunately I cannot pick all of them. And I apologize for that. If you do not see your name selected for one of my districts and you really wanted that, don't be upset, just keep trying and keep in mind that this is just something that I do for fun, so there's nothing serious about this. And finally, just to wrap up this district planning phase, I think we can set some policies to the districts. So I'm gonna start with Fairview Heights, and I am gonna apply quite a bit of districts, so I want this to be a big business benefactor. I also want it to be a high-tech housing district. Where is it? Oh, it was right here. How stupid of me. So there we go. And I also want to make it into a IT cluster district. So let's see if I can find it. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna make this an IT cluster, and there's a reason for that. IT clusters require 50% less workers, and given the fact that we have a lot of demand for industry, or that's something that has been going out throughout this series, I think I want to maximize the amount of jobs available. And for that, I think I want an office district that is not as efficient as the IT cluster in generating jobs, because the IT cluster, of course, requires 50% less workers, so I will want something that will have a larger capacity for workers, and those are normal commercial, of course. No, not normal commercial, normal offices. There we go. But anyway, I think we can come to this area, and I think I want to apply the high-tech housing district to this area as well. And I believe those are the only districts that I want to apply at this phase right now. Now going back to this area, I've mentioned that I want to turn this, all of this into a high-tech housing area, and I think that's exactly what I'm gonna do now. Now, because this area is so developed, and as you can see, all of the residential buildings are at level 5 in this particular area, as soon as I apply the high-tech housing district, all of these residential buildings will be dezoned, and that will cause quite a bit of trouble in our budget, and that will shift our population quite a bit. But I've already saved the game, so if anything goes wrong, I can just reapply it back and go back in time and do this in another way. But for now, let's just try to do this and see how well it works. Let's do one district at a time, shall we? Oh, that's funny. I thought this entire area was going to dezone in order to make room for high-tech housing buildings, but apparently that is not the case. So let's do the same to this particular district. Let me just see which one it is. It's going to be the Wolp Downtown. Congratulations, Wolp. You now have high-tech housing in your district. And look how green the land value in this area is. Look at that. This is amazing. Perfect. Hopefully we can replicate this thing to this part of town, and all of this area will be level 5 high density high-tech housing. So I cannot wait for that. And you know what? I think we can expand that high-tech housing policy to some districts as well, such as this one. So if I select the Cessfield Low-Rated district, my new district, let's apply the high-tech housing policy so that this thing is also high-tech housing. And I've done that because it's right next to the Justice Park and this particular unique building, and I think it fits that this area is also high-tech and high value. But anyway guys, that's gonna be it for today. This was a very talky episode, but I believe it was necessary. Next week we'll have a lot more action, I promise. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If so, and if you wanna follow the development of this particular city, don't forget to subscribe to get notified every time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching guys, and as always, have fun!